Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Hello. It is good to be back on here. It's been a little minute since I've gone live. Excuse me for the crazy hair. I said come as you are today. So that's what I did. Let's see if anyone is even here because I didn't announce this. I said, let me get on live and I can share some leads and we can chat and catch up. Let's see who is here. Okay. Hey, Brittany, the winning walk with Christina. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, Antoinette, Yvonne, how are you? Dyra, Meg, Shelby, Judith, April. Hey, hey. Hope everyone is feeling great today. How are y'all doing? Did y'all's kids go back to school or were they always in school like mine? AKA daycare. But see, it still affects me when the kids go back to school because depending on the time that I leave, I get caught by the bus. So if I leave before the bus, and I'm talking, it makes a huge difference with that minute or two. There's this apartment complex, and it seems like 50 kids get on the bus at this stop, and both sides of traffic stop. I'll stop, I'll wait for the kids. But I'm just like, okay, sit down now, because folks got to go. These kids be getting on the bus, taking their time, picking and choosing. Bus can't take off till they sit down. So we sit there for a minute. So I've started timing it now. So it's only been a few days, but I caught on quickly. He said, nope, virtual bus. Yeah. So yesterday I did a workshop on Zoom. We were going over Extra Leads Club and the software, like just some technical stuff like, okay, this is how you use it to find roles that work for your state. Or, if you're looking for something very specific, you can toggle your search to find only those things. And we did it on Zoom because I can go into detail over on Zoom. I'm still on my very best behavior over here. I'm on my very best behavior. Okay. I have learned my lesson. I've learned it. Even though I didn't do nothing wrong, I've learned my lesson. So, we can't do some stuff over here that we were able to do over there. Levi is so good. He's about to turn a year old, which is insane because it's like, wait a minute. It's been a year? Like, no, it hasn't. It has not been a year, but it has. So he's doing really well. He is huge. He's a little linebacker. Sometimes I call him Pigpen, like the Charlie Brown character, because you can give him any food. It could be food where it's like, you can't tear your clothes up. This boy goes through so many outfits. He's just the sweetest little baby, but I mean, food all over the place every single time. I had picked him up yesterday and I was like, oh, did he have a blowout? Because he was wearing a different outfit. And they're like, no, it's just he had lunch. And I said, okay, I know what that looks like. Thank you for asking. And my oldest, Christopher, he is a little boy. He sure is. He's going to be 4 in September. So their birthdays are only like 3 weeks apart. And I was talking to my husband. I'm like, can we do joint birthday parties? And so I think we landed on after the first one, maybe they can start doing joint birthday parties because that back to back birthday party expense, I'm not loving that. Call me cheap, but I like to call myself economical. Yeah, so they are growing, they're doing well. Lots of pow pows for my oldest, spare the rod, spoil the child. But we got to train him up in the way he needs to go. And if y'all have little boys, you know they are always on 10 and they always have something to say all the time. I'm like, don't you get tired of talking a little bit? Nope, never. So I hope everybody's doing well. And I know for some folks, this might be their lunch break. This is my lunch break. Okay, I'm working around the clock over here still. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk because this is something that we all need to chat about. What's going on with remote work? I know at the beginning of the year, let's see how many lives that was ago. We did like the state of remote work in 2025. So that was I think it was January or it was about to be January. So it's crazy to think it is now August. Like, whoa, time's just a ticking. And so we've touched bases since then, a lot of it about nonsense that was going on over here, and it's still going on. That thing is still on my channel, so I'm still making sure that I have a hair right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I'm still making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do so that I don't get into anything else. And I choose my words wisely. Yeah. I'm just glad to be here. I sure am. But I want to hear from y'all in the chat. How is the job search going? What are some of the things y'all are, seeing and experiencing? And I'll give my 2 cents, but I want to hear about y'all's 2 cents, We're lunching and chatting. I already had my lunch. I got my little water here. Let me know in the chat box how y'all are feeling and doing with the job search. It's been tough, horrible. Okay, you say I need to jump back in it. I know, Michelle. I love my freedom of speech, but I'll zip my lips while I have to, just so I don't have to go away. Not having any luck. Getting ghosted, dozens of apps, lots of rejections. It's a pain, can't get any interviews, just starting the job search. Okay, you work for BPO for Apple and just got promoted off of the phones. Yay, congratulations. Yay. We got to shout for, good news. I'd love to hear it. Haven't gotten anything yet. Not great. Never had this difficult of a time. I know. Hard to transition to something else. No responses. No interviews except from ghost jobs. Tons of rejection letters. Even with some experiences in 2 degrees, nothing. Tough. Want to get off the phones, but not having any luck. Okay, lots of remote jobs on LinkedIn for insurance. Rejection after rejection. Is a good sign if a recruiter reached out to solely represent you exclusively for a job? Like if a recruiter reaches out, they'll like invite you to apply for a job. Most of the jobs are either labor or in person or IT technical. Rough getting rejected. I'm caught between going back and making money online full time. Rejections. He said it's interesting that the same jobs you had back in 07, 08 are still paying 13 to 15 and wondering why they're churning and burning candidates. Rejections, no luck, ghosted. Turned down attempt to hire this morning. Hours were good for me. Yvonne said she may switch from client service manager to start looking for underwriting positions. So that's what I'm looking for now is underwriting positions. Yeah, underwriting is where it's at. Yeah, the rate for call centers, and y'all forgive me if there are certain things that like I don't say or touch on just because of what we've been talking about. I can't. So I want to, but I have to be careful. Okay, I read that one. Okay, yeah. Yeah, my husband had actually sent me something and he was like, "You might want to tell your audience about this." I had shared a fake text probably earlier this year. And I was like, "Well, I already told them about that." But he was like, "Well, you got to tell them again because folks didn't see it or um there's new people." I'm like, "You're right. You're right." And I didn't even save it when he sent it to me. But basically those fake texts, I'm seeing it now. So like he had forwarded me this fake text from someone who said her name is Audrey from the Costco recruiting team. And let me send y'all a link or put in the chat the live that I did breaking that down, because companies will text you. That is normal. That's how they can get in contact with y'all. But if you did not apply to a role, they are not going to offer you anything. The only thing that you will experience from like a recruiter is if they're like, for example, a lot of this happens on LinkedIn. They'll reach out and say, "Hey, we saw that your profile matched with, a role that we have available, blase, blase, you might want to apply." But this live that I did some months back, I put it in the chat box. Watch it later if you get a chance. That one is where I break down those unsolicited texts and show you like how you can see if they're legitimate or if they're a scam. And if you've never applied to a company, or if it's not about, hey, there's something to apply to, and even with that, you want to make sure it's legit, then you can just go ahead and say it's probably a scam. And they're just and the what is it? The DMV one? Or the toll road one. That's another one I've been getting. Something about you have unpaid toll fines. I'm just like, y'all need some money, huh? Y'all out here scamming left and right. Get you a job. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Get you a job instead of doing this broke behavior, trying to scam folks. Yeah. So here's the thing, you guys. I try and I try to keep it real. I try to keep it fair and balanced. I try to acknowledge the experience that folks are having. I don't want to invalidate anyone's experience with the job hunt. I don't want to make anyone feel like, I don't believe them when they're having problems, because I do. There is a lot of demand for a very limited amount of opportunities out here. Okay. Remote work is here, it's here to stay, but it's almost like, you know, what's a good way to describe it? There's just more demand than supply. And when there's more demand than there is supply, that's where you have, like y'all are saying in the chat, how are y'all still, uh offering the same thing that you were offering back in '08? You know, it's 2025. How are you still offering the same thing? We were wearing different clothes back then. That is because the supply is down here and the demand's up here. So just naturally, they're going to be able to get away with what they want to get away with. And that's what they're doing. Now, I will tell you this, because the recession is real. And there's a lot of people who, I think, because of the internet and how anyone can just get on the internet, because we all got one of these and people just want to say something cute. I think there's a lot of not so great advice that floats around. And it always seems like the not so great advice gets spread far and wide. And now is not the time to be job hopping, acting like the world's your oyster. Because if y'all remember, I think it was maybe like 3 years ago now, people were on the whole job hopping thing heavy. They were saying, oh, don't wait for the company you're with to give you a increase. Just go get you a new job, and you'll go ahead and bypass whatever raggedy little increase they were going to give you, and you can go get what you want. So it was really like the employees had the say so. And, that was the, panoramic era. People were hopping from this place to that place, getting, offers here and there, especially with remote work. They like this one, they go there. They don't like that one, they quit, they go get them something else. Now, you don't hear that advice going around so much anymore. Why is that? It's because the recession is recessioning, and the tables have turned. So now it's employers who have the say so, and employers are not hurting for well qualified applicants. You think no one's checking for that 15 job. I'm not saying certain, you guys get what I'm saying. 15, what am I going to do with that? But guess what? There are plenty of folks saying, I can do something with it. Reach out to me, I can do something with it. But there's plenty of folks saying that. They're raising their hand for that. They don't have to change anything, because that's the state of things. And, I've said it before, if you can have you 10 jobs, have you 10 jobs. If you can have you 50 jobs, have you 50 jobs. And I'm not saying toxic hustle culture. I'm just saying, if you are just trying to make sure that you've got what you need to take care of your family and succeed, you might not want to spend your extra time watching Netflix. You might want to spend your extra time, even if it's just a few hours a day, servicing for one of these 1099 contractors. And ain't nothing wrong with it. That way you can at least make sure that if there's anything that, falls apart with your main stuff, you've got something for a rainy day. Plus, for a lot of folks, they're like, well, I haven't really changed too much with my spending like that. Why is it that this isn't going as far as it once upon a time was going? That's the question. I need some answers because I'm like, I'm not out here balling out. I'm not out here doing all this extra stuff around town. What what's going on? That's the question. Why isn't this going as far as it once upon a time went? I need some answers. But that's the thing. That's what's going on now. And so like if you do get an offer for a role that you can make work, and it might not be ideal, it might not be everything that you were hoping for, I would consider it from the perspective of there's not a whole I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. I would just consider it. Because if you can make it work, you can at least have that experience to add to your resume, and you can at least have something coming in, and you don't have to stop your job search. You are allowed to continue your job search while gainfully employed. And the crazy part is we were talking about this a little bit yesterday on the Zoom call that we did. A lot of times it seems like companies would much rather choose someone who's already employed than give someone who's been unemployed a chance. That's just how it goes. People like folks who are employed. And I'm not saying that they're not going to choose you. It's just you are appealing because, hey, somebody else wants you. We can think about how that works in other aspects of life. Let's see what y'all are saying. Yep, obligations, family obligations. Yes, what I am worth. Is it illegal for them to call if you're on the do not call list? Do you think about the do not call list will help prevent these texts? I think when they're scamming, they don't worry about the law. I mean, I know some people have their number registered for like, don't solicit, but because they're scamming, I don't think they care. Oh yeah, people stacking jobs. That's what I was just talking about, have you 50 jobs if you can. If you can. And you guys know I'm being facetious a little bit, but I'm not at the same time. No one can really work 50 jobs. Don't take me literally. I'm just saying if you have the window of time and there is opportunity, fill it with something that is going to help your family, your situation, all of that. Those same Netflix shows and what they're hollering about on social media is still going to be there when you log off from work. Still gonna be there. Mm-hmm. I have a video about medical billing and coding that I did some time ago. And there's a freebie that gives you information about the certification. It depends on the program that you do. You can finish it in under a year. I've seen people, mention that they finished theirs in like 6 months. Don't quote me on that. But I just put the link to that video in the chat box. And you should be able to learn about the companies and get that freebie where I give information about like the certifications and stuff. But one of the things that I've noticed with medical billing and coding roles, you'll see most of them ask you to start off with at least 2 years of experience. So those no experience roles exist in a remote setting, but they're much, much, much fewer and far between than the ones that want you to have, a couple of years of experience. So to get around that, you might either need to, do a lot of hunting for that no experience coding role, or, work in a brick and mortar location, getting that experience, and then you can go on to take your talents to the house. But there's a lot of opportunities once you've gotten, a couple of years under your belt that you can do remotely. Some companies just completely dedicated to medical billing and medical coding. I'm reading y'all's comments. Yeah, cutbacks, and someone said the other day furloughs, and at my son's school, one of the ladies we had started talking, she was saying that she works in, I guess, media, and she got fired and she was on the job hunt. I didn't get too in detail with her about what happened, but it just seemed like maybe they were just making cuts. It didn't sound like it was like her being reprimanded for anything. Mm-hmm. You get it. Yeah. Ooh, we got to talk about this. Something I noticed on TikTok. So, with all the things that have happened over on this side of the internet, I finally broke down and got on TikTok. And mind you, I have downloaded and deleted this app probably about 3 times. Like, I just can't get on. I couldn't get on board with TikTok. And for years, people have been like, Delilah, you gotta get on TikTok. You'll crush it over there. Like, if you got this going on over on YouTube, you just gotta get on TikTok. You gotta get on TikTok. And I'm talking about people in my business to business relationships, like companies that like I'll partner with, and some of that stuff makes it to YouTube. Some of that stuff is just on the like HR side of stuff that I do. And so I'm having internal conversations with folks, and they're like, Delilah, you got to get on TikTok. So I know it's coming from like very knowledgeable people, but I'm like, no, I can't do TikTok. I don't want to touch TikTok. And then all this stuff happened. And so I'm like, fine, I'll get on TikTok. And, TikTok's not that bad. I felt like I had to have me a little slice of humble pie, because I'm like, I can't do TikTok. And so I've been on TikTok, and I had made one years ago in one of the times that like I downloaded the app and then deleted it. So I was like, oh, okay, I got like 33 followers or whatever you call them on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, I'll start posting on there. So I'm on there now. And I'm on there Monday through Friday. I'll miss a couple of days, but I've actually been growing on TikTok, which is interesting. And there's a lot of folks on TikTok sharing, remote opportunities. So I'm like, okay, I didn't even know the community over there was that big. But the thing about TikTok, and I'm not going to forget why I got off on this tangent, because I want to talk about that. But the thing about on TikTok is it doesn't really, I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't really really gone in, but it kind of feels like you're in a silo over on TikTok. Like, I don't get the community aspect of TikTok. And maybe you get to that point when you get to a certain amount of like followers or subscribers over there. But TikTok doesn't even serve me work from home content. Like, and that's all I post on there. They don't serve me work from home content. They serve me content from the perspective of being a content creator. So, like, a lot of the content that I get served over there is like how to become a full-time content creator, how to go full-time on TikTok, TikTok shop, and they'll be like, "Oh, I made all this money from TikTok." And then I'll see the ones where people are like, they have a sob story. And it's like, if you watch this for 60 seconds, I'll be able to do something. And I'm like, is this a grift? Like, is this for real? I don't know what the money on TikTok, can't say some words. I don't know what it looks like over on TikTok for a content creator, whatever. I don't know because I just got over there, but it must be amazing because the way these folks get on the internet, and a lot of these folks are literally begging, which had my jaw on the floor because it will be a cold day before I ever get on the internet and beg strangers but they get on TikTok doing it all the time, which is crazy. And like, I don't know if they're for real or if it's just a grift. And like, there was this one guy on there, which I'm bringing my point. It was this content creator named Hub's Life, I think. And I remember seeing him on like Instagram. So like a lot of people just post their content across platforms. And it was like this guy, and he'd kind of make these little videos about, I'm getting ready to go to work, and basically showing his day in the life. But I guess he kind of had like a little bit of like an artistic spin or something that he would do with it. And I guess he had a big old following over there on TikTok, and he had like a 9 to 5. And so I guess the money, hopefully I can say certain words. I don't care. But I guess it was getting real good over there. So he quit his 9 to 5, and people start turning on him because I guess they felt betrayed. Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Have y'all heard about that? Let me know in the chat. Maybe it's just me then, because I don't think anyone else has heard about that. But yeah, it was this content creator. And, he had the 9 to 5. And I guess his following was a bunch of people who also had 9 to 5s. And so they felt betrayed when he, quit his job. And some folks were even like doing like dissertations on the man, saying that at one point he was pretending to go to his 9 to 5. And then finally, he just got so tired of it, of the pretending, that he was like, you guys, I'm a full-time content creator now. But the thing is, I guess it's not going so well because they said this man was on TikTok saying like, I need you to send me a galaxy, send me a galaxy. And on TikTok, I didn't even know what a galaxy was. I'm like, what is that? Because I just got on this app like a few weeks ago. I guess it's how you can give people some compensation or something. So like people would be asking him questions, or I guess he was doing like a Q&A live on there. And people were like, oh, what's your favorite color? What do you like to do for fun? Like what? But he'd be like, oh, I can't answer that unless you send me a galaxy. And I'm like, doggone, it must be real bad. And see, the content that I'm getting served on TikTok, the reason why I bring all this up is a lot of that content is about, quit your job, become a full-time content creator. This is, the most lucrative way. Like, I'm not slaving away at a 9 to 5 anymore. I want to be a full-time content creator, buy this from my TikTok shop and blah, blah, blah. And It's very interesting because, like I said, over on TikTok, they show you stuff based on an algorithm. Like their algorithm is insane. They will only show you certain things because it's not like you can search, but the way it is, if you're not on TikTok like I wasn't, as soon as you like open up the thing, boom, there's a video. And then if you want to, go to the next thing, you just slide and, it's the next video, it's the next video. For y'all who've been on TikTok, forgive me if I sound like a grandma, but I'm new to it. And so like basically how like YouTube has shorts, they just have it where it's shorts and they can be longer now. I think you can make up to a 10-minute video now. You can search, but you're just scrolling. And so the algorithm is feeding you content. And maybe it's just what TikTok thinks that I like. But there are so many people who are pursuing being full-time content creators. And I feel like folks have been lying to people because being a full-time content creator, and by the way, I have always worked even while being a content creator. Like I have always had other work going on. There was a very small period of time after I had my oldest where I wasn't like pursuing other opportunities and whatnot, but I have always had something else going on in addition to social media. I am not a full-time content creator. And that I feel like should be very telling for the folks who want to pursue that over a 9 to 5. Like the thing is, no matter what you do, you are going to be working. And even though being a content creator, this for some niches can be very good because we've seen folks just like the guy who I just talked about. It must have got real good because he said, I don't need this 9 to 5 anymore. I can go do this. But I guess he did that prematurely because he's begging for galaxies. How'd that work? And the thing is, like, work and, honest work, you just want to be employed, whether it's yourself employing you or, you're working and employed by another company. You want to find something that you can have, consistency with. And I know folks are going to say, oh, well, they can always fire you. Yes, that's true. But for the most part, if you do what you're supposed to do, that's not as likely to happen. And like with the whole content creation grift, I mean, it's not a grift. It's just a lot of folks sell dreams because their job is to get you to tune into their content, or their job is to, make you think if you buy their content starter kit or something that you're going to be able to go full time with it. And like there are some very successful content creators, but if I don't know your full financial snapshot, I'm not taking no financial advice from you. I'm sorry, I can't do it because, folks have other stuff going on, but they don't tell that part. So it's like, it might look like that girl is, doing real well, doing content, but we don't know what's on the other side of the camera. And I think for a long time, there was this push to go away from 9 to 5s because they made it look so lucrative online. And I'm not saying that it's not, but what I'm saying is you can do both. Like it doesn't have to be a one or the other kind of thing. And the real winners, in my humble opinion, are people who have their 9 to 5 and their content, because now you're really putting both together and you're able to propel yourself to, the financial freedom that you really want. Because like there's certain niches that get more sponsorships. So like I'm in the education niche. Okay. I don't even call myself like an influencer. I don't know if someone gets to call themselves an influencer or whatever. I make content, so I guess I can call myself a content creator. But the people who are in like the lifestyle niche is usually what people are talking about when they're referring to like content creation. And so, like, the people in the lifestyle niche, they can get all sorts of sponsorships. And if you stack those up, that can get real good. But during times like this, where the recession is recessioning, a lot of these people, if you're in certain content creation spaces, they'll let you know, hey, they're not calling or reaching out like they were before. And if these companies, which you're depending on somebody to, give you a sponsorship so that you can be a full-time content creator, if these companies aren't out here, giving out these sponsorships, well, there goes your revenue. Now what are you going to do? And so people saying like, oh, a 9 to 5, they can fire you any old time, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? When you're a content creator and you depend on these companies to sponsor you, you're not getting what you may think you should be getting, because if the budget isn't there, the budget isn't there. And so you may have been on the side of the internet where you'll see like a lot of content creators saying, I'm going back to my 9 to 5, and some of them will be honest, but a lot of them, I've watched some videos where I'm like, girl, just tell the whole truth. You are not going back to your 9 to 5 because it got so monotonous being a lifestyle content creator. That is not why you're going back to your 9 to 5. You're going back to your 9 to 5 because those sponsorships dried up. Who wouldn't want to put on blush every day and do an outfit of the day? I could do that every single day if y'all are about to line my pockets. Ain't no getting old over here. But they got to save face and keep it cute. That's why if you can do both, you're winning. Have you your 9 to 5 and do your, other thing, start your passion project, your business, your side hustle, content creation. You can do both. And for a long time, if y'all remember like OG YouTube, like for a long time, a lot of the content creators on YouTube were very open about, hey, I work in, this industry, and then like, this is my channel. And for some people, like they were able to go full time with it, but there's very, very few who have been able to go full time with it long term. Some folks have, gone and got them a job when they went full time, but I never, ever, ever was a full time content creator. I've always done my HR business, and I've always had, other things. And so, like, I say all that to say, don't run away from the 9 to 5 as if it's the enemy, because, when money is flowing like that, like, especially like during the pandemic times, people were doing real good on social media. So yeah, when stuff looks good and you're doing good, it's going to look like, oh, you can do that full time and quit your job and blah, blah, blah. But I think that's the trap that they wanted people to fall into. And so now with, people feeling the recession, folks are trying to get them something else to do. And now these companies are like, we don't give you 15 and you don't like it, because what else are you going to get? Yep, they used it as a stepping stone. They sure did. And it's just crazy on TikTok how like they make it seem like it's easy to just go full time as a content creator. And especially when people, it's like they're in the lifestyle niche, but they don't really have a niche within the lifestyle niche. It's like, I do my makeup and I tell a story sometimes, or I do a get ready with me, or like I show you my day. And I'm, like I said, I'm not trying to be the Debbie Downer. I'm not trying to be a hater or anything like that, but most people really aren't that interesting. I don't show you guys my day to day because y'all would fall asleep Oh, you got up and you changed a diaper, you made a bottle, you played with your kids, you worked, you made dinner. There's nothing really interesting about that. Like I know that. But I guess maybe that's where like the whole like social media narcissism and stuff meets the chat. I don't know. What? Sadly, there are grifters on YouTube. I saw a bishop telling people to send money to his PP and make it pop like popcorn. Oh, and don't get me started on, I don't even want to say the man's name because he is such a grifter. His name starts with a U. He was just recently on the internet talking about all his accounts are shut down and he needs folks to send him something. And he still ain't got that school off the ground yet. If you know, you know. I don't like to give grifters a platform. Y'all, give me just a second. I'll be right back. I need to go get some water. Hold on. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. I am back. Thank you so much, Kay. I'm trying. I am trying. And that's another thing, too. With there being so much demand and not as much supply, one thing that I'm always saying, don't let these rejection emails make you start questioning, like, wait a minute, who am I as a candidate? Because the thing is, and it's hard to not start wondering, like, wait, am I as qualified as I think I am? Am I as, um, employable, marketable, appealing to these companies as I think I am? Because when you start getting those rejection emails, You'll be like, wait a minute. I'm well qualified. I've been doing this since, blah, 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 blah. But then it starts making you question yourself. Like, wait, so is this company saying that there was someone better? That there was someone who had like more experience, that there was someone, and you start going down the rabbit hole, but all rabbit holes in this situation lead you to thinking, well, maybe I just wasn't good enough. These companies sending all these rejection emails, while it hurts, know that you are who you are. Because, like I had told y'all years ago, when I had tried out, these were the very first videos on my channel. And I had just started like posting real consistently on YouTube. This is a long time ago. People were asking about Arise. And I had seen them, but I had never really like done a deep dive into them. So those videos on my channel about the 1099 companies, which by the way, I'm ready to give y'all an updated video, but I'm sitting on these videos until the thing goes away because I don't want anything to jeopardize what we got going on. Like, we figured out what we can do. So once that goes away, if I do start skating on thin ice, at least it'll be considered as 1 versus 2. Anywho, when I had tried out that company, I was doing that energy client, and the training was only like 2 weeks. I want to say they had extended it just a little bit longer to where like maybe it was like 2.5, 3 weeks. I can't remember. I'd have to go watch my own videos to remember the details. But I was thinking, okay, it's a short training. It is a call center role. And I have worked for many, many years. I'm a college educated person. I've done, jobs where like I've done much harder stuff than this. That's what's going through my head. And I get on the phone and I'm servicing, and I'm just like, wait a minute, they didn't go over this. They didn't go over that. This ain't in the Salesforce. And I had to remind myself, no. Just because it was a short training doesn't mean it was easy. And just because they're giving you chicken feed doesn't mean that this is like a low skill, whatever. That's when I realized these companies are getting over because they're asking you to do very demanding work and giving you something that would not be equivalent to that demanding work. So had I not known all those things about myself, I could have easily been like, man, I must be dumb. I must not be capable. But that's when I was like, wait a minute, I have plenty of things to prove that I am capable. Hold on. Yeah, so like I realized like, okay, had I not known all those things about myself, I would have walked away from that experience thinking not so great things about myself. And so I say that to say the rejection letters that y'all are getting, they're not indicative of who you are as a candidate. Now, on the flip side, if you're applying to jobs that you don't qualify for, if you don't have any sort of skills or education, if you have not made any efforts in your own time, on your own dime, to get some skills, certifications, education, what have you, those rejection emails, they might be indicative of you needing to do some things. But if you're like, no, I've been doing this for 10 plus years. I've been doing this for 5 plus years. I've gotten nothing but awards and promotions, and I'm educated, I'm this, I'm that, I got this certification. Then it's not me, it's them. So like the rejection emails, they're gonna not be fun, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute now, I know I qualify for this one. But don't let it be about, oh, I'm not good enough. It's just the company was going in some other direction. They chose wrong. They chose wrong. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that experience taught me like, oh, these aren't walk in the park jobs. They're actually making you do like work that they should be putting at least 10 on top of. And that was very eye-opening because I'm like, oh, it's 2 weeks training. I'm just answering questions about energy bills. It can't be that deep. Oh, it was deep. They didn't go over 90% of the stuff that these folks were talking about on the phone. It was a mess. So please don't let them tell you about you. You know who you are. But yeah, back to the 9 to 5 thing. If you are currently employed, or if you can grin and bear the job that you are at, keep it. Keep it until you secure something else. I would not walk away with nothing lined up. I do want to share a few roles, but actually, let me see if I can do that without some stuff showing. Because when I do my daily leads videos, we can blur out certain things that we believe are an issue. But if I do a screen share on here, I don't know if it's going to show the whole thing. Hold on, I'm trying to figure something out. Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that without it showing that. What I'll do is later today, I'll make a post on my website for the ones that I want to share, and I'll send an email when I do that. It's going to be like tonight. Nope, don't lose confidence in yourself. And it takes a lot of applications. I've said for a very long time now, you want to try and aim for at least 25 a week. And I've always gotten pushback on that. Delilah, that's a lot of applications. That's too many applications. Not really, because it seems like uh when you put in that number, it always sort of works out the math where at least one company is going to send you to the next steps, like either an assessment or a phone screen or like an interview. You got to be putting in that many. And this is assuming that you're applying to 25 roles that you are a good fit for and meet the qualifications. Because, we've talked pretty much in every video, I always point out this is what's required, this is what's preferred. This is a requirement, this is a preference. If you got the preference, let them know. But if not, as long as you meet these requirements, then you qualify. So if you're applying to 25 roles where it's like, I meet their requirements, at least one in those 25 should send you to one of those next steps that I just mentioned. And it's a lot, but it's a temporary thing because once you get hired, you're hired and you only need that one company to say yes. And that was like the whole premise of the One Application Away challenge. We did our last cohort in January. I have every intention on doing another cohort soon, but I also have some other stuff that I got to iron out. So I don't know when the next cohort is going to be, but I was hoping that maybe we could do it either September or October. I'm leaning more towards October right now, but I'm still ironing some things out. So, the whole idea is if you put in that many applications, you are going to get some sort of next step opportunity. And if you're doing that consistently, then you'll hopefully get hired and then you don't have to do that anymore. And so for the time being, to put in that many applications, it's going to be work and job hunting. If you don't got you a job hunting is your work. That's why I always say, you got to apply for a job like it's your job. You're not watching Netflix. You're not really watching YouTube. Maybe you might listen to some YouTube while you're putting in those applications, while you're job hunting. But it's going to be work in applications. And that's where Extra Leads Club and the software come in, because it takes a good chunk of time combing through the job boards. Like that part alone, you can easily get, like, let's say you are you put your kids to bed, or it's later in the day, you done work, you already did whatever, it's the evening. You get on the computer around 8:30. You just looking for jobs and applying to jobs. Before you realize it could be 11 o'clock. And you're like, oh my goodness, where did time go? And that's how time gets eaten up. Like you're looking for jobs, you're applying, and it just takes up so much time. So you really don't have time to do anything else like that when you're like really on the job hunt grind. Like you are going to realize like, oh, wait a minute, this feels like a job itself. And depending on what you are applying for, you may not find, it's not 25 a day, it's 25 a week. Now, if you can do 25 a day, hey, you're on it. I'm talking about 25 a week. So that works out, if you're doing it Monday through Friday, 5 applications a day. That is doable, okay? And some days are dry. Some days you get on the job boards and you're looking around and you're combing through the internet, and you might not find 5 roles that you want to apply to that day. You might find 3. You might find 2. And then there are some days where the opposite happens. You find nothing but roles that you want to apply to. And right now, like, Extra Leads Club has just been so good. Like, the leads have been really, really, really good. Really, really good. So good that I was like, I want to go live today, but I also want to share these leads. Now, if you're in Extra Leads Club, you already got those, because whether I post a video or not, Extra Leads Club happens every single weekday. So, less than a few cents a day or whatever, you can have you all these leads. Shameless plug, but it's a beautiful resource. Not just because I made it, but because it's really useful. We really do search the internet for hours and add the best on in the Extra Leads Club app. Yeah, so not 25 a day. Not 25 a day. Yes, you got to be persistent. And I was also saying yesterday on the workshop chat, if I could give y'all a schedule to follow, and if you're like, Delilah, what would be the best practices for like getting hired fast and getting hired sooner rather than later, and having dibs on these really hot leads? I personally, what I did and what I prefer and what I've recommended and what has helped people that I recommend this to is I say Monday through Friday. And if you need you a job, it's either you're unemployed or you don't like the one you're at. So you have motivation to, get on the job boards Monday through Friday. And that is because people are in office. And y'all know there are times where I'll post a role and within maybe 10 minutes of me posting the video, it is gone. So if you're waiting until the weekend, you're getting what's left over. A lot of those roles, some of them that you probably really, really would have liked, they've been gone. They were taken down, day of. We're not going to be able to catch them all. And I will post, I'll make a video. It'll be edited. It'll be ready to post. And I always go back and double check and it'll be gone. And I don't post those. I post a lot of videos. Imagine how many more I would have posted if the role didn't close. I don't post jobs that have closed. So if I post it and 10 minutes later, when you watch the video, it's gone, it was there when I posted. It just goes that fast. And you can't catch them all, but you have a better chance of catching them if you are on the job boards Monday through Friday. Yes, Crystal. We post and on my degrees and careers channel, I've posted some analyst jobs. Those come from Extra Leads Club. So we post a little bit of everything. So not just customer service. This main channel, you'll see a lot of customer service, a lot of no experience friendly, a lot of I'm just kind of transitioning or getting started roles, because that's what we focus on over here. But also on Extra Leads Club are, more seasoned roles that are more career oriented. And I share a few of those over on my degrees and careers channel. So all of those leads are coming from Extra Leads Club because, there's folks who are coming from all sorts of backgrounds. And if it's interesting and if it's legit, we'll put it in Extra Leads Club. We sure will. And if you can do more than 25 apps a week, now you're really cooking with Cristo or Crisco, whatever it's called. I've actually only cooked with Crisco once because I think it's not good for you. I think it's better to cook with butter or something else, if I can recall. Do y'all cook with Crisco? And I want to say it used to be lard. And lard makes biscuits taste good, but I don't think it's lard anymore. Oh, it's olive oil. Or you cook with olive oil? And I want to say, let me Google, what is lard? It's like fat from who? Is it pig fat? What is lard? Oh, okay, lard from pig fat. Yep. Now I've been on beef tallow. We got us some from Whole Foods. Now I hear beef tallow is better for you. Cooking in butter and beef tallow. If we want to fry something up, we'll use some vegetable oil. But we got us some beef tallow. Snowcap lard. I'm not familiar with that. Oh, you use it for your tortillas. Yeah, I had made some tortilla chips with the beef tallow. It didn't come out as crispy as I like it. So, and we don't really do pork. Not heart attack central. Not heart attack central. This is so random, but since my brain has already gone to other topics because I forgot how I got on. Oh, yeah, I was saying cooking with Crisco. Are y'all? I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to cleaning. I actually have a cleaning closet. Scrubbers, bleach, Pine Sol, Lysol, the wipes. We got the electric scrubber. We got the handheld steam mop and the big boy one. Like, the carpet cleaner one. Okay? Here's the thing about me. I always, when it coming up, and now I use bleach. I use real cleaning stuff. But I know there's a lot of people who don't like using real cleaning stuff. Like they like using the like non-toxic that stuff. Are y'all team bleach or team non-toxic whatever that stuff is? And I didn't know bleach was toxic. I don't think it's clean if you don't use the bleach. And I had seen a while ago where they're saying you can't put bleach in dish detergent in your bleach water. That's bad. I said, who said that? Because it's not clean if you don't put the bleach. Like, and I don't use the bleach for my baby's bottles, but I will clean stuff with bleach. And then I will wipe it down with soap and water and then I'll do another rinse. So like I don't leave it, like I try to get rid of whatever residue if it's gonna be like with my baby. But if I'm cleaning my bathroom, you about to fall out in there because we use bleach over here. Okay. It's not clean if you don't. And maybe I'm on an island by myself. Let's see what y'all are saying. Okay, so bleach. Okay, so we use bleach over here. I'm with my people. You're non-toxic, everything else, but you like real cleaning stuff. I think that stuff is a scam, to be honest. Like the non-toxic, oh, we just squeezed a couple of lemons and mixed it with water. It's dirty if you use that. You can't convince me otherwise. No. Bye, Michelle. I hope you have a good one. Thanks for coming. Team bleach, soap, vinegar, and borax. You're having asthma reactions to bleach, so you switch to Dawn plus 70% isopropyl. Oh, and see, I feel like that's good. That's good too. But this stuff where it's like, oh, you can spray it in your mouth. It's so non-toxic. Yeah, that's a scam. Yep, folks even put it in their bath water too. Now I haven't done that, but I've seen folks do it. Even the pediatrician told you to use it. Mhm. Tearing some clothes up, huh? Team bleach. The Degrees and Careers channel is let me go to it and I'll put the link. And I actually I missed yesterday, and I do have a video if the lead is still open. I do have a video to post over there. Let me send the link. And a lot of people were like, "Is this someone impersonating you, Delilah?" No, it's not someone impersonating me. It's me. It's me. But yeah, I like using real cleaning stuff. And I had got into this conversation with one of the moms from my son's school because she's team non-toxic. And I'm like, if you are getting colds now, you're gonna really feel it when they don't clean properly, because little kid germs are on a whole nother level. Little kid germs are on a whole nother level, y'all. And when you get all those little kids together and they're putting the toys in their mouth and all of that, you need you some bleach. You just wash it off real good. And see that, and I was like, I came up using bleach. Like, we didn't know about all this lemon zest and water and whatnot. No, you get you some bleach, you get you some dish detergent. And then if you ran out of the dish detergent, we would even use laundry detergent. That was rare, but we would even use laundry detergent too if we ran out of the dish detergent. Yep. Hey, you got to use something with some soap in it. But that was rare. So we clean for real. Yep. Say it again. Hand soap needs to be antibacterial. And see, I love me some Bath and Body Works, and I would get the soaps on sale. Like, I would be getting the soaps for like $1. Sometimes I could even get them under $1 if I timed the annual sale just right. But some of them aren't antibacterial. And when I was looking at the details about the soaps, it was saying, well, if you scrub and you wash or something for like 60 seconds, I said, mm-mm. So now what I do is I go to Walmart and they have the mega thing of antibacterial soap, and I'll just refill my soap containers. It can have the cute little Bath and Body Works look, but it's really some antibacterial soap in there. And that's what I do until the containers get worn out and I replace them. I mean, I really don't care anymore. I just want some antibacterial soap. Every now and again, I'll see like airline rolls, but they're usually for just a handful of states. So like reservation rolls, like I've never on my channel shared anything from Delta. I've never seen anything from Delta, and I've never seen anything from Southwest that would fit the scope of this channel. I do see folks posting that, but I don't know what they're sharing because I've never really run into any roles that most folks can do from those companies, but I want to say like Alaska Airlines. I've seen them post like reservation roles. And some other ones probably could have some remote opportunities, but I haven't run into them. I haven't. And then also too, y'all, with the amount that these companies are offering, just keep in mind demand's up here, supply's down there. Does it work? If yes, great. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. But someone is happy with it. Someone is ecstatic to get that offer, and it works just fine for them. I'm going to have to start wrapping things up because I got to be on to the next thing. We grind over here. Y'all are grinding, y'all are hustling. It takes grinding and hustling. But anytime that I can get on live and chat with y'all, I definitely will. Oh, the soap thing. Having the cute look of the Bath and Body Works soap, but it's really some dial inside. And I've also cut back on my Bath and Body Works. There's something about Bath and Body Works that gets real addictive. And I don't know what it is because it's like, do I really need 50 body sprays? Do I really need the hand soaps and the plugins and the scent? Do I really need all of that? No, I do not. And I had to check myself on that because now that I'm thinking about it, I guess I'm weird because I got a cleaning closet. And at one point, I had a Bath and Body Works closet. One shelf was all my soaps. Actually, two shelves took up the soaps because I told y'all, you time that sale just right, you can get you all those soaps, $1 a piece, something around there, maybe $1.30 a piece. The next shelf, my room sprays. Now that one, I'm not letting go because I need my room sprays. So one whole thing dedicated to the room sprays. Again, you got to time it with that sale. Okay. We don't pay full price for Bath and Body Works anything. There's always a coupon. There's always a promotion. If you like the wallflowers, wait for them to put it on sale. And then if you don't mind smelling Christmas things in the spring, wait for that sale in January. That's what I did. So it's smelling like Christmas time all year long. And it lasted me a long time. So I had to cut back. I did. And it's like, what is the obsession? It's weird. But there are people who have whole channels dedicated to Bath and Body Works. And I'm like, I could have me a channel because I got me a closet in there with all the Bath and Body Works stuff, and I didn't spend nothing on it. I would give it away as teacher gifts. So anytime it was like teacher appreciation or, if it's someone's birthday, they're getting Bath and Body Works. So it had a lot of uses and I used most of it up. The stuff that I do have left over, I'm just not a big fan of those scents. So it's going to be somebody's gift. Congratulations, Kendra. I don't like it either because I've always posted the you-know-whats. And I can't really respond because, like I said, I'm not getting in any more trouble for anybody. So, like, I can't even respond to some of those things. Like, I appreciate all of y'all who do the responding for me about that because there have been people who've tried to like make it seem like I am switching up. And it's like, no, I'm not switching up on anything. I can't. I can't, do certain things. So, we're making it work. I try to. But that's the thing about some folks. I've noticed you can do a million things for someone. Every time they ask you, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And you say yes, 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 every single time. But the one time, even after a million things, the one time you can't say yes or do something for some folks, they turn the back on you. They want to call you everything out your name, you name it. And that's what was crazy to me, because I'm like, why are folks going so hard in the comments? Like, what did I do? I can't do some things, and I can't even really say, what did I do to you? It's just selfishness. Yep. Come in hungry, smell the pumpkin. My favorite scent. What is it called? Hold on, I'm about to tell y'all. Because I always mix up the scent with another name. I'm gonna tell you what my favorite scent for Christmas is. Okay. So my favorite scent from Bath and Body Works for Christmas scents is the Perfect Christmas. I think that's the one. Do y'all know that scent? And what's so crazy is, and this is when I had to check myself on the Bath and Body Works stuff. Okay. I had bought my semi-annual sale. I've been doing this for years. And when I had gotten to that scent, because you're just getting what you can get if you're a hoarder. And so I'm just getting what I can get. And when I got to that one scent, I fell in love with it. So when I ran out of the scent, I started looking on Bath and Body Works to order some more. Like, I'll even pay full price for this. And you know what I just said? We don't pay full price for Bath and Body Works. I'll pay full price for this because it's that good. So I had found the scent. It wasn't sold online. It was only sold in stores. And it just so happened that it wasn't that far from me, but it was a little bit of a ways away. If you live in Atlanta, Alpharetta isn't far, but it's not close. So I'm like, I'm going out to Alpharetta to get my scents. I got it in the sprays. I got it in the wall plugins. I got it in the candles. Thankfully, it was on sale. Right after that, I had found out I was pregnant with Levi, and I hated any and every scent. Like, I was so nauseous all the time. I hated that scent with a passion. And I'm like, this is crazy. I just spent all this money on, getting the bath, everything you can name in that scent. I got it. And I'm like, I don't want this anymore, because I didn't want to smell a thing. Everything was making me sick. But finally, okay, after a year, Levi's about to turn 1. So this was a little while ago. I finally can, smell that scent and appreciate it again. But I just thought that was so crazy, because I was so in love with the scent. I went all the way out to Alpharetta to go get everything I could, because, Bath and Body Works will discontinue something on you in a heartbeat. They will discontinue it, and you will, please, Bath and Body Works, they don't care. They're on to the next coconut lime mojito scent. And it's like, nobody asked for that. But anyway, I couldn't stand it. And then now I can again. So that's my favorite scent, the Perfect Christmas, for the Christmas scents. Now we're going into fall. I love me a pumpkin, but I'll get so sick of pumpkin when Christmas comes around. It's crazy. They have you on the merry-go-round, and I guess I'm a willing participant. Bright Christmas Morning is good too. Bright Christmas Morning is another good one. Now, the one scent that I loved that no one loved, or it was a very polarizing scent, was the sweet tart ones. See, that's my kind of thing. People were saying it smelled like purple medicine or grape medicine or whatever. I use that one every single day. But I also make my own perfume. So like that's probably why I am a good candidate for a Bath and Body Works obsession, because I just like scents in general and I make my own scents. Like my son's teachers, they were like, please start selling this, because I only make 2 cents and I'm not, I guess I kind of am more on the gourmand side, but really it's more of a niche within gourmand. I like candy scents. So I make a bubblegum perfume and it lasts all day. And I also make a candy perfume and it lasts all day. So that's why I liked the sweet tarts one, because it was all the things that I love. Smelled like candy. Like I can do vanillas. I love me some vanillas, but not all vanillas. Like the vanillas that kind of lean more towards like the marshmallow, those ones. But one candy scent that I can never, ever, ever, ever get into, which is weird, and you'd think that I'd like it, is cotton candy. I just have not come across a good cotton candy scent that I like. Oh, you were really into it. You'd mix the scents. See, I'll just do a layer of this and a layer of that, and that's how I do my mixing. You've been in medical insurance. I see so many claims roles for medical, like just healthcare claims, you name it. I see at least 5 of those a day. I would just start putting in as many applications as I can, because it goes back to what we were talking about with, all of these rejection emails that you'll get for roles that you are more than qualified for. But it's the whole demand and supply thing. So I would put in, if you're putting in 3 applications a day, I'd put in 6. I would keep applying, and it's going to just be like, wait a minute, why do I have to do all of this? But that's just the nature of remote work right now. So if you get you a job, stay there if you can. If you have a job, stay if you can. If you're looking for a job, you might not want to be super, super nitpicky if they will accept you, just because it's not the employees who kind of have the pull these days. Because I was saying, that a while ago, it was, advice was saying like, oh, just jump around if you want an increase, if you want a raise. And companies were hiring like that. But now, in my humble opinion, I'm just the work from home lady. Don't believe me. But in my humble opinion, if you are employed with a company that treats you well enough, that compensates you well enough, that you can deal with your coworkers well enough, then stay. Hopping around, that's not the move right now. because I like, just for reference, which the things going through my mind. Number one, I'm a human resources professional outside of YouTube. Number two, I've been on the job boards daily for years. Number three, I made a video a couple years ago about recession proof jobs. So all of these things are swirling around in my head when I think about the state of remote work, what is reasonable and unreasonable. And the things that come to my mind are, if we were talking about a recession a couple years ago, and you got a lot more people talking about, we're really in a recession, y'all. This thing's been dragging on. We don't know how much longer this thing is going to drag on. So that would make me say, hey, let me stay put. As long as this company will have me, I will have them. And if I absolutely must go, if I absolutely need to get out of Dodge and get me something else, I will only do that while gainfully employed and secure something else first. Now's not the time to, do the whole jump and see what happens, because it's not going to go as well as you'd hope, probably, unfortunately. And it has been pretty tough, because another thing that's impacted the remote roles is, after the whole panoramic, okay, I know what it's called, but, after all of that, a lot of these companies were like, hey, we got to make up for lost time. These buildings have been sitting empty. We need you guys to come on back to the office so we can get our, use out of these places. So, a lot of companies, they may have had roles that were remote during that time. But also remember, some roles, they were never remote to begin with. They became remote during that time. And then when the back to office mandates happen, now we're back to what you signed up for. And then even roles that were opened up as remote because of the time and the circumstances, they were remote. But, now companies are like, well, actually, we want to do the back to office mandates. Because, remember, beginning of the year with all the Doge stuff, there were people who had been working remotely for quite some time. And, with the folks, they said, no, you got to go back to the office. You got to get out the house. And some people opted to stay remote. But personally, if I needed a job and remote work was not working out for me, there would be no hesitation for me to go to a traditional role. None. There'd be no hesitation for me to go to a traditional role, because, we don't want to lose the whole point of why we work. We work so that we can take care of our families, take care of ourselves, keep a roof over our head, keep food on the table. Okay? We work for those purposes. Now, if we can do that from the house, perfect. It's a wonderful situation. But if you cannot do that from the house, and you've been applying and it's not working out and things are going bad for you and blase, get you a job in person. And, the work from home, enthusiast is saying this. Whatever you got to do honest work and continue, taking care of your family, if it's not working out. And I would, as much as I love not having to commute, if I got gainfully employed, and I had a commute, I'd be smiling all the way on my commute. I got me a job. That's what I'd be thinking. And you can always apply for remote opportunities. Just because you have a job does not mean that you cannot apply to jobs. But hey, y'all, it's 2:00. I really got to go. So thank y'all for coming. We'll chat soon. And I hope you guys have a blessed day and talk to y'all soon. Bye.